Hi, I'm Matt Collins. I'd like to welcome you to Bob Weber Auto Mart on Douglas Avenue here in Racine, across from Douglas Park. We specialize in 1-year-old, low mileage, almost new cars. And if you'd like to stop by and see them, or see them on our website, bobweberautomart.com, we could save you between $5,000 and $10,000 on your next almost new car purchase.
Welcome into another edition of Sports Junkies. I'm Steve Sparky Fifer from the Wendy's Big Show on Sports Radio 1250 WSSP. Sitting way down there is Gery Woelfel from the Racine Journal-Times and RacineSportsZone.com. Scrunched in between us, he is the head coach at Union Grove, Dave Pettit. Thanks a lot for coming in, Coach.
Thank you for having me.
All right, first things first, before we get to your basketball team and all that, how did you end up becoming head coach at Union Grove? What led you to want to be a head coach?
Well, I was always involved in athletics at St. Catherine's. Played 3 sports, enjoyed playing all the sports, enjoyed my coaches.
Did they enjoy
respected
you?
them. I hope so.
See, it didn't take long to get this going.
Yeah, I had a great respect for my teachers, so I thought teaching and coaching would be something I wanted to go into. I was fortunate to land at Union Grove for student teaching, where my former biology teacher / freshman football coach was the principal or assistant principal.
Oh, okay, all right.
And the rest is kind of history. I did go to St. Joe's for a year because I didn't have a job for me.
You know who else went to St. Joe's?
For a year. My freshman year, that was it.
Yeah,
couldn't
taught
afford
over
it,
there.
I went to Tremper.
They both got kicked out, I assume.
No. Yeah.
And then a job opened. I ended up back over at Union Grove. So.
Well, you know, this guy was a pretty good player himself back in the day. How many years were you at varsity?
I played 3 for basketball.
3 for varsity. And if you're on varsity for 3 years at St. Catherine's, you're doing all right.
Well, the difference, though, has to be, obviously, with St. Cat's, it's a private school, obviously, and it's not like Case or Park or anything like that as far as, you know, you're going from within the district or whatever else. You can kind of pull from wherever for St. Cat's versus where you're at now with Union Grove, where you're essentially kind of a one-school town where you kind of get everybody, right, for the most part, in that town. I always think that's an advantage. At least talking to football coaches, those guys like Clay Iverson or Adam McGuanago and stuff, they love being that one-school town versus being in a Racine or a Kenosha where everybody gets split up, and it really kind of hurts you from ever becoming really that powerhouse that you could be.
Sure. The one-school town thing allows you to get the kids early and involved in basketball.
And your feeder program and everything
build
else,
the feeder
right?
programs, and you know, we have the travel teams that go play in with the WYBL, and it kind of gives you a chance to groom them and make sure they're doing what you want them to do to, you know, get the skill set they would need to play at the next level.
What's the momentum like in Union Grove for high school basketball?
I think we're moving in the right direction.
Yeah.
You know, we got a lot of kids involved. I think we have 3 5th-grade teams down there.
3?
Yeah.
Union Grove's blowing up.
I don't know about that, but
God.
we have a lot of kids participating in our travel program, and I think that'll help us down the road.
How is Union Grove? I mean, population-wise, is it getting bigger and bigger? I know Waterford there for a while was that town that was kind of blowing up as far as population goes. How's Union
It
Grove?
was growing. It's stabilized over the last couple of years.
Yeah.
There were some subdivisions that were going to go in that have ceased for
whatever the reason,
recession
yeah.
and stuff. So, but the school itself's growing. One thing we do end up with, because we're the first school west of the I, is we get a lot of school choice kids out there. So our
Okay.
school is growing,
Well, that's
or
good
has
then.
grown, pretty close to capacity, as a matter of fact. So that helps us as well.
That's great.
From a coaching philosophy, obviously you played at St. Catherine's, like you said. How much did you learn from Bob Letch, and how much of that have you used now as a coach yourself, or do you have your own philosophy on how to do things?
Well, I only had 3 coaches. I had my dad as a coach at grade school. I had Jeff Pold as a coach at freshman year, and then I had Coach Letch. And
Okay.
Coach Letch is the stuff I remember the most, and we were pretty successful when we played.
Does your dad know this?
Yes. So, you know, what he taught has a huge impact on what we do. I can't tell you because when I started so early, I think I got the job at age 25 or 26.
Oh, my goodness.
Is that what it was?
It's
Yeah, I knew it
been-
was young.
Yeah, I think it was 26. I've been
Yeah.
doing it 19 years. You know, I came in, I was going to do everything the way that we did it at St. Cat's. It's kind of a funny story. So I came in, first year, I was like, if you go deer hunting, you're not playing. There's no deer hunting.
You know you're in Wisconsin, right?
Well, that's how it was at St. Cat's. It was practice to go deer hunting. So I came in, I said that. I had some parent call me like 5 times the night after, and then he met me at the front door with another parent, and we cleared up the deer hunting thing, and I quickly learned that deer hunting, rest of the eye was the equivalent of maybe Christmas at St. Catherine's. So there were some lessons to be learned as well.
Yeah, but we laugh about that in Union Grove, but I've always heard the stories, and I don't know if they're true or not, but the reason the WIAA has their football playoffs get done when they do is so those kids up north and everybody can go hunting, so it's done before the hunting season. That's why the playoffs end when they end. Did you know that, Gery?
I have never heard that.
Yes,
No.
I've heard it for years. But that's kind of the reason how the whole schedule is. Yeah, so
Yeah, you got
the
to
hunting
consider
thing
resources. They're kind of shady,
Hey,
you know?
the hunting thing makes sense to
You know?
me, though. I mean, that's kind of what it is. Hunting's a huge thing in the state of Wisconsin. So what other things?
I thought it was
have
because
changed?
the WIA people wanted to go hunting.
No, but I mean, when you look at Coach Letch, I'm sure he can be aggressive as far as how he coaches and can kind of get on kids and stuff like that.
He's
you
mellowed.
have, well, he's older. It happens.
Still wish you would have mellowed a few years sooner. You know?
But for you, do you take that same approach, or is your personality a little bit different as far as how you coach?
I think coming in, I took the
That same
approach
approach?
where I was very aggressive. I think I've learned over the years is you can't treat each kid the same.
Right.
And kids have different buttons to push, and my job's to find those buttons and try to make sure I'm pushing them to get the most out of them. Sometimes that's misread as you treat you don't treat everybody
Sure.
fair, but that's the reality of it. So, but that comes with experience.
Let's talk about the reality of what kids are like now versus like what kids were like when you played high school basketball. Because I argue, and how old are you?
I am 44.
Okay, so you're a few years older than me. But I argue that kids now...
You're not 40 yet?
No, not yet.
Oh,
Shush.
man.
I argue that kids today aren't as mentally tough as early as maybe they were years ago because parenting has changed and society has changed and so forth.
That's a loaded comment.
That's what I do.
Having kids of my own involved in athletics, I've learned that it is completely different from when I was a kid. Obviously, video games, cell phones, those kinds of things are very interesting to kids nowadays, and we didn't have those when I was a kid. So when we were kids, you went out and
You played.
You played. You did. You played all the time. Basketball, baseball, whatever, football, hockey. You just played. You made up your own games. You went out and did stuff. You competed. They didn't have all these travel teams. You didn't have all these. You weren't starting at age 5 and getting recruited by clubs at age 6 and 7.
goodness.
And
Exactly.
I
Getting
think
recruited
that's
at
made it.
6 and
well,
7?
if you play, I think you could start Ross's soccer at 5 or 6, and by
Really?
6 or 7, I think they're trying to get you. Clubs are
different
trying to
teams.
get you involved.
Wow.
Football, I think, now starts in RYS at age 6. I want to
Yeah,
say.
it's a young age.
So I think the kids playing with other electronics, and therefore they don't go out and do the activities we used to do. Therefore, their parents get them involved in all these clubs and,
Yeah.
and sports, and that's the only way they get their activity. And with that, the parents are paying a lot of money, and then the parents have expectations. And
Well, based on that then, are the kids farther along at an earlier age than they were before because they have coaching sooner maybe than they did back in the day?
I think they're farther along with their understanding of the game. I think they understand different things you do in the game. I don't know that they're that much further along with their skills.
Right.
And let's face it, I mean, some people, you're going to have a ceiling on your ability.
Sure.
So you can work to get a little bit better, but at some point, you only have so much athleticism.
Well, speaking of progressing, your team is what now? 8-1, if I'm not mistaken. 4-0 in the conference. You got to be a happy coach at this stage of the season.
I'm extremely happy. I love my team. It's a great group of kids. They play hard. They get along. Our chemistry is great. I will tell you, the road to 8-1 hasn't been easy. I mean, I think we've had a couple one-point games in there. We've had a couple where the game's been pretty close the last couple minutes,
Sure.
and then we pulled away. So, which in the long run is probably going to be good for us because you learn how to win the close games. So, I'm enjoying this team. It's a pretty athletic group. There's a lot of different things we can do. We're not as limited, but we do have some weaknesses. And
Well, I remember early in the season, before the season started, you were pretty up about this team, pretty optimistic. And I think people in the area were kind of actually overlooking you. I mean, based on what happened last year. But you were very optimistic, and it's a senior-dominated team, correct?
Yeah, we have 9 kids back from last year.
9, yeah.
And it just makes practices so much easier because they understand what you want already. We can zip, zip, zip. And they just respond quicker.
Sure.
And then you can make a little adjustments. You're not teaching the whole offense,
Right.
to some kids. So it's nice. Experience is good.
And Miller is a senior. He's your point guard, correct?
He is.
And obviously having a senior point guard is invaluable, I would assume.
Absolutely, and he's a quarterback. He's one of the smartest kids on the team, basketball IQ wise. We seem to be on the same page most of the time, and that helps a lot.
Sure.
When you talk about having that point guard that's kind of like the extension of the coach on the floor, as far as making the right pass, not making the dumb turnover and so forth, you can talk about all different areas of a basketball team that are crucial. That may be one of the more important aspects of a team, because if you have a point guard that turns over the ball, that's not running the offense the right way, no matter how talented the rest of the guys are, it can create a huge problem.
Absolutely, I think the high school game is kind of become a guard's game.
Yeah.
And if you got a guard that knows what's going on, can take care of the ball, does a lot of the little things that don't show up in the stats. Directs the offense, gets people in place in defense, helps on defense, knows what to do. I think that's invaluable.
Does your team buy into the defensive aspect of it? Because I would have to imagine.
Do they have a choice?
Again, no, but I'm just saying at the high school level, hell, even at the college and NBA level, everybody wants to score. And defense, I think, is going out the window along the way because everybody wants to be on SportsCenter or be on the highlight package or whatever the case may be.
Well, I think the 2 most successful coaches around here right now are Coach Lutch and Coach Christian. So
Absolutely.
Coach Lutch emphasizes defense, and that is one absolute thing I've tried to take with. But those 2 are both successful because of their defense. They do different things on offenses based on their talent, but their defense is pretty much the same. And they're a little different, but they both emphasize it, and I respect that, and that's what we try to do as well.
Let me ask you about some of these players. Just a quick comment on each. Alex Hale.
Alex Hale is a hard worker. He's really come along. Last year, he had a great first third of the season, and then kind of faded off on us. This year, he's been solid. He bulked up a little bit, played a lot of basketball this summer, worked on some of the things we asked him to work on, and he's been a real pleasant surprise.
Yeah, Grant Beck.
Grant Beck's one of the more athletic kids. He is our most athletic kid. He's a high-flying kid. He can jump out of the gym. He's got a couple monster dunks for us this year, which we don't get a lot of.
Sure.
And he's getting better defensively, and he's going to be a good one.
Yeah, Andrew Kazakowski, I thought would be one of the best players in the county. Period. And he struggled, I think, a little bit early in the season, but it seems like he's rounding back into form.
Yeah, Andrew, he's the only all-conference player coming back from last year for our conference. And Andrew, he's a good player. He has struggled with his shooting a little bit this year, but man, I've had him for 3 years now, and he used to let his offensive game dictate how he played.
Sure.
And now he misses a shot. He is playing hard on defense the whole time. He does not let that phase him. I think that's maturity, and I think you're going to see good things out of him.
You guys at the NBA level let their offense dictate how they play on defense. So to get it at the high school level and understand, that's a big deal.
Two other guys, real quickly. Cody Walters and Jacob Fink.
Cody he's a scorer. He is a little unorthodox. He's a lefty. He can jump. He's athletic. He makes a lot of off-balance shots going to the rim. But he's a scorer, and he plays good defense, works hard. He's really good in transition. So if we get him in the open court, we're pretty excited.
Anybody else that's really been a surprise?
Well,
that's
not a surprise, but another kid who doesn't get a lot of credit is Jake Fink. And Jake,
Right.
Jake's, what is he, 6'3", 6'4"?
Somewhere in the ball.
And he's always going against the other team's big guy. He works his butt off. He's physical. He's our number one rebounder. He just does a lot of good things for us defensively. Knows where to be on offense. Gets the other guys open, and then can take care of when he gets a layup or gets the ball and move going to the hoop. He can finish. So he's been a pleasant surprise as well.
Coach, thanks a lot for coming on.
Oh, thank you for having me.
Yeah, best of luck. Right now you're at top of the Southern Lakes Conference, and
it's a long way to go, though.
We're filming this on Monday morning, and I know you got St. Catharines on Tuesday night.
Thursday.
Thursday night.
Thursday
Yeah,
night.
and that's going to be at Union Grove.
That's at Union Grove, yeah.
Do you have any feelings about playing your alma mater anymore? I know you played them a bunch of times already.
It's always fun to go back and play
Yeah.
St. Cat's, and it's like a reunion, see a lot of people, but it's just another basketball team when you do the scouting report and stuff, and it's a pretty good basketball team. So
Sure.
we're gonna have our hands full.
Sounds good.
He is
Thanks.
Dave Pettit, the head coach over at Union Grove. Keep an eye on them. They're going to win the Southern Lakes. I'm Steve Sparky, Fifer, Sports Radio 1250 WSSP. This is Gery Woelfel, the Receipt Journal Times. That'll do it for another edition of Sports Junkies.